I didn't expect to be rebuilding my life at the age I'm at now. I'm 29, turning 30 in a couple months. But that's where I'm at now. I've been dealt the cards that I've been dealt, and I gotta move forward with my reality. So come along with me on today's hike, and I'll tell you why I've had to rebuild my life, how I've been doing it, and why I don't see it as a failure to have to rebuild my life. So I'll see you guys at the hiking trail. See you in a bit. So I'm at the trailhead right now for George Cove Mountain Trail. I've never hiked this trail before, so we're gonna check it out. It's supposed to be a lot of steps and uphill. It's a very short hike, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'm 29 years old, almost 30. Started to rebuild my life this past year, almost year and a half now. I've mentioned it before. My long-term relationship ended. Another time I was super depressed and not doing anything with my life. And I've often heard that people need like a drastic event to happen in their life before they start changing, especially when they're stuck in a state like I was. And yeah, honestly, that's what it took for me. It's not that I didn't want to change, it was my depression and anxiety stopping me. When my partner left me, kind of kicked everything into motion. I no longer let my depression and anxiety stop me from doing things, which was hard at first. As I've talked about before, it's just exposure therapy. You do it enough times, you kind of realize that it's not the scariest thing in the world, and you can do things. So that's pretty much what I've been doing in the past year. So I say I'm rebuilding my life because, well, I was engaged and I wanted to marry this woman. Now I'm 29, almost 30, I'm single. And honestly, I thought I'd have, a house and kids and a wife right now. And unfortunately, I was dealt some bad cards with my depression and anxiety. And that did a lot of damage to my relationship, so she ended it, and honestly, I don't blame her. The place I was in at that time I was a horrible partner. I couldn't even take care of myself, let alone maintain a relationship. So yeah, that's why I say I'm restarting, because I expected to have these things by now. And for a long time, it looked like I was gonna have that. Unfortunately, like I said, mental illness kind of changed things for me. Honestly, that took a lot of grieving to get over. This past year, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what that looks like in my head. And I'm getting there. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced anything similar to this. It doesn't necessarily have to be a breakup or anything, but I'm mostly talking about like the mental illness part of it, how it's changed my life and stuff. I want you to know that's okay to not be okay. Everyone has their struggles. And I feel like a lot of us pretend that we don't, so that we don't look weak to other people. But I don't think it's a weakness at all, personally. I really think it's a strength to be able to talk about the stuff you're going through. Because it is scary to talk about this stuff. It's hard to bring it up. You don't know if someone's gonna judge you, what they're gonna think. And I think we all have similar thoughts to that when we're struggling. When you're in a spot like that, your brain likes to make you believe that you're like the scum of the earth. No one wants to be around you, and the world would be better off without you. But that's not true. That's just your depressed brain lying to you. You deserve to have a good life just like everyone else, and it's possible for you to get that with a little hard work and perseverance. So I got to a point when my ex split up with me. I kind of realized that the path I was going down was not sustainable for a good life that I wanted to live, and things needed to change. And you may not be there yet at that realization. Sometimes it takes a long time to get there. Hell, it took me almost 4 years to get there, to that point. And who knows, it could have even been longer if my ex hadn't split up with me. But each day that you wake up is a brand new opportunity to start working towards the life that you want. And when you think about it, that's a beautiful thing. It's almost like going to bed at night is a reset button. You can always wake up the next morning and choose to do things differently. I know it's hard to look at your own life and what you're doing wrong and examine yourself, but I encourage you to do that every once in a while. Kind of look at what you think you're doing right, what you think you're doing wrong. Examine what direction you're going. And if you come to the conclusion that you're not going in a good direction, maybe get some help. You don't have to do this alone. I haven't done it alone. Like I've said before, I have my therapist, my friends, my family that I talk to. I don't know where I would be at if I was doing it alone. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. So I've been saying rebuilding, and I haven't really specified what that means. So rebuilding for me, and it's probably different for everybody, depending on what you're going through. But rebuilding for me was reflecting on the way I've been living my life the past few years, the daily habits and routines that I was doing that were not great. And personally for me, because I had a lot of depression fatigue, it was mostly things I wasn't doing. I wasn't working, I wasn't exercising, wasn't eating well, wasn't going to therapy, wasn't talking about my problems with anyone. So the first thing I immediately did was I reached out to a therapist. Looking back, I think that was a great choice because I was struggling with a lot, and I seen all these things I had to do now that I wanted to start rebuilding my life. And when you look at the end goal of all those tasks that you have to do, it's scary as hell. So I started going to therapy, and he helped me with, well, first off, he diagnosed me with depression, which I didn't know I had at the time. And that gave me a lot of clarity around why I was going through the things I was going through, and just understanding why I was struggling so badly. It really helped me work towards getting better. I started looking for a job. I was working with a career counselor who helped me a lot. And a few months later, I did end up getting a job. And that daily routine of having a job really helped me more than I ever expected it would. And it made me feel like I was accomplishing something each day and contributing to the world. I also started walking every day. I've talked about that before in a video of mine. I highly recommend that for anyone. It just does a lot for your mind and body. Another pretty important thing is tapping into, hobbies, whether they be old hobbies that you used to do and lost your spark for, or finding a new hobby. So one I got back into this past year has been guitar. I've played pretty much every day, whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, a little bit each day goes a long way. Another one that I recently got into about a month ago is golf. It's very intimidating at first, you got to go out in public to driving ranges and golf courses and be willing to suck at golf. But one thing it has taught me is, everyone's out there doing their own thing, working on their own things, worried about themselves. And I see that as a life lesson, really. I can apply that to all other aspects of life. It kind of makes me realize at the end of the day, everyone's worried about their own crap, working on themselves and probably not judging you. I feel like anxious people like me kind of think that, everyone's looking at them, the spotlight's on you, but honestly, we're not that important. We're important to ourselves and our families, but, random strangers don't really care all that much about you, and they're most likely not judging you. So, pay attention to yourself and do what you want to do. Don't let other people stop you. I know that's easier said than done, but it can lead to great things. You can start enjoying life on your own terms, and I think that's a great thing to achieve. So I've reached the top of the mountain here. There's lots of stairs. It's a beautiful view up here. This is in Holyrood, Newfoundland. I'm at the top of the mountain here. Down there is Holyrood Beach, which I've been to on my videos once or twice, I think. The harbor there. You can see a lot from up here. Nice and peaceful, minus that ambulance. There's also a giant cross here that lights up in the night, and you can see it from down on the road there that I was just showing you. I've never been up here. It's pretty nice to see. And don't get me wrong, this process hasn't been easy. I know when I talk about it, it just seems like a simple wake up and decide to change your life, but I know it's not like that. The real version of this is, struggling with getting started. I struggled with a lot of things. The motivation to work towards all these goals, it seemed like so much. It seemed overwhelming. Consistency, walking every day, it's hard to do, but also being consistent with everything else, improving your mental and physical health and all that stuff. I've also struggled with feeling like I'm behind. Like a lot of people my age that I know are kind of starting families now, and they have a career doing well with, and they're married and all that stuff, and I feel behind. And I know everyone's on their own life path and no one should be judged for that, but you know, we're our own harshest critics, and our standards are high for ourselves. So I've been going through this past year kind of grieving the future I thought I was going to have by now, but also feeling behind and kind of feeling ashamed for those years that I was depressed. And there's probably going to be a lot of points in time on your journey to getting better where you want it to happen faster. It's not going to be a fast process. It takes a lot of work. You got to look at yourself critically, objectively, and change things that are scary to change, hard to change. Look at patterns that you've been doing throughout your whole life. Trauma, maybe, if you have any trauma. And thinking about those things and examining them and trying to change them. It's not easy at all, but that shouldn't scare you away. There's more to life than staying the same and doing the same crap you've been doing, and especially if it hasn't been working, right? So it's gonna be a long, slow process. When you look back on that decision to start, you're gonna be thankful for it, because if you stick to it, you're gonna come a long way. You can achieve those things you want to, whatever you put your mind to. It just takes effort, and effort can be scary sometimes. It's been scary for me, but this past year's shown me effort can really get me pretty far. And it's gotten me to a point that I'm really proud of. I'm not done yet. I still have a lot of things to work on, and I still have a lot of things I'm working on right now to better myself and to move forward and achieve the goals I want. But I say this to try to encourage you to get started on the process like I have. The best time to start would have been, you know, probably years ago, but I like to think the second best time to start is now. Don't look at the past and regret that you didn't start earlier, because maybe you had to go through some things in your life to lead you to right now where you want to start. That's kind of a thing I've been thinking about this past year that has helped me come to terms with some things, you know. It's that everything happens for a reason, you know. In the moment, something drastic that you wish didn't happen may have happened. Like me in the end of my long-term relationship, I didn't want that to happen. I wish it didn't happen, but maybe in 5 years, I'll look back and that'll be a fork in the road that kind of led me down this path I'm on now. And who knows, maybe in 5 years, I'll have achieved things that I never thought possible. And I'll have a bigger picture view of the past and why things happened. The thing is, we never truly know why things happen in the grand scheme of life. But I try not to spend too much time living in the past or the future, because when you think about it, we only truly ever have the present. And it's a shame to waste all this time being stuck on the past or worrying about the future, because that takes you away from the present moment. And you're missing out on things in the present moment when you're doing that. Sorry, I got a bit off track there. That's not really anything to do with my topic, but yeah, if you want to rebuild your life like I am, I would suggest getting started now. Reach out for help. There's a lot of resources out there, people that love you, that will help you. And I can say from experience, you definitely won't regret it. One thing I've realized from this whole process is you don't change your life with one decision. It's a lot of like small daily choices and decisions and habits that really lead to the biggest change. And that's what's led me to where I am now. I've made a lot of small decisions and started a lot of small everyday habits that have turned me into a better person and more healthier person and a more grateful person. And you don't need a perfect starting point. I spent a lot of time waiting for that perfect moment where, you know, I'd feel like I had enough energy to start getting better, or the perfect moment would come along and I'd be motivated. But don't wait for that perfect moment like I did. You'll waste years of your life doing that. Just try to wake up one day and just start, because that perfect day is never gonna come. So each and every small little step that you take may not feel like a lot, but over a year, every little thing that you did to challenge yourself or go outside your comfort zone will make a big difference. It has for me. And there's been days where I'm like, did I do enough this week or today? And I felt kind of guilty for, you know, taking a rest sometimes. But it's okay to take rest sometimes. You don't need to be doing something every single day, but also don't let yourself slack off, because that's where you'll end up stuck again. So yeah, just get started. Another thing I've learned is discomfort most of the time means growth. It's like that quote I mentioned before, change begins outside the comfort zone. It's so true. I've grown so much this year by going outside my comfort zone, and it helps build your confidence too. Even just doing small things outside my comfort zone that, you know, most people can do without even thinking about has built up my confidence to be able to do it again in the future. So I've gone from like a really extremely socially anxious person, not interacting with anyone, to, you know, being able to talk to strangers sometimes and, you know, film myself in public like I am right now, which a year and a half, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you if you told me that I'm doing this right now. So really, at any moment in time, you can completely change who you are. You can just wake up one day and decide, I don't like who I am right now. I'm gonna change it, and it's gonna be uncomfortable. The people in your life that have known you forever know you as the person that you've been that whole time. And I let that keep me stuck for a while. I was always like, well, people know me as the shy, quiet guy, so I can't escape that. And I didn't for a long time. I woke up and decided I don't wanna be that guy anymore. And I'm working towards not being that guy anymore. I'm sure I'll still have part of that within me because I think that's just who I am, but I don't need to allow it to take over my life and stop me from doing things that I want to do and goals I want to achieve. And you don't need to either. So I encourage you to wake up tomorrow, examine your life, and start thinking of some small habits that you can start that will change your life. So yeah, I'm still figuring out what it looks like to rebuild my life. I got a lot of things done so far, but I'm still working on things. It's always a work in progress, and things evolve over time. The goals you set and the things you want to achieve can change at any moment, really. You can wake up one day and decide to change those too. I think we often think we're stuck in our decisions. We have to stick to them because that's what we decided. But there's no reason you can't wake up and just decide that you don't want that anymore. Try not to be too harsh on yourself in this process. As long as you're moving forward a little bit each day, I think you can be proud of that. A year or two later, you'll look back and look at all the progress you made, and it will be a lot if you keep at it. So that's what I've been doing. I've been keeping at it for the past year and a half, and I've seen a lot of benefit from it. And I intend to continue on improving myself, working on things that I wanted to work on for a long time. And some days I'll struggle with things that I don't struggle with the day before. That's the beauty of the human mind. Like, you're not gonna be the same every day. Your motivation's gonna fluctuate, your mood's gonna fluctuate, and that's just something you should expect. There's nothing wrong with that. So I hope my story has kind of helped you realize that you can change your life too, and you can start today. And I hope it encourages you to start. There's no need to be stuck. Things can get better, and you can get help, and you can really improve your life quite a bit. So I encourage you to start a small habit today that you think will help improve your life, whether it be walking or reading or whatever, right? There's a million things that can help you. You just got to get started on at least one. You don't got to do 10 at a time. That's kind of overwhelming, but if you start one, maybe next month you start another one. You start moving towards something that you can accomplish and be proud of. And before you know it, your whole life will have changed and you've accomplished things that you wanted to accomplish for a long time and you feel really good about it. And honestly, I think this is a lifelong process. I don't think you ever stop rebuilding your life, but that one decision can help you start moving in the right direction, and you can achieve things that you didn't think you can. If you have friends and family or therapists that can help encourage you, tap into that. Be honest with them, what you're struggling with, what you need help with, because I genuinely think most people want to help and most people are good. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it encouraged you to start building a life that you want. I hope it encouraged you to take some action, and I hope it gave you some motivation to work towards things that you want to work towards. I hope my story can show you that you can change your life even when you don't think you can. It just takes that one step. Like most other things that I've talked about, the first step is the hardest to take, but once you get going, that momentum kind of propels you forward. So I hope you enjoyed looking at the sights on this trail with me, and I hope you can start rebuilding your life as well. Yeah, if you like this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, drop a subscription. We're gonna have plenty more videos like this talking about my mental health journey, what's worked for me and what I've struggled with and stuff like that. If you've struggled similarly to me, feel free to comment below. I'm always down to chat with people. I like to hear other people's stories. I don't like to hear that you're struggling or anything, but I do think it benefits all of us to be able to talk to each other about our struggles. And I hope to build a little community where we are open and can talk about these things with each other. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one.